Order. Roll call, please.
President Byrne?
Here.
Trustees Hebda?
Here.
Cook?
Here.
Marquardt?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Schwartz? Williams?
Okay, we have a quorum present. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any citizens that wish to address the board on any topic other than what's on committee of the whole? Because it's on committee of the whole, we'll call on you then. No? Okay.
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
We have a yes here. This is an added segment to our board meeting. House Representative Carol Senti would like to address the board on a most pressing issue.
Thank you. Good evening and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's great to see everyone tonight and a pleasure to address the board and staff of the community that I call home. Thanks for allowing me a few minutes to celebrate the occasion of Village Manager Mike Allison's retirement. I'm not sure if you know, I came to Vernon Hills in the same year Mike came here 15 years ago in 1998. And Vernon Hills, for me, is such a wonderful community and one I'm really very proud of. But this doesn't happen by accident. You know this. It happens by hard work. And although there's always the lead professional, staff that shapes decisions and executes the board's decisions and directives, success is always a product of a team and a cohesive effort. And that unity is healthy and sound in Vernon Hills. Mike, I have a certificate for you that I'd like to briefly read aloud. When we're back in session, I'll file a resolution in conjunction with Representative Sullivan, Senator Lincoln, Duffy, and just to commemorate your years of service here for the village. So the certificate briefly says, during the 98th General Assembly, the state of Illinois congratulates retiring village manager Mike Allison on your 15 years of service to the village of Vernon Hills, including some of the major highlights you, the board, and staff have accomplished during your tenure, such as construction of the Vernon Hills High School, orchestrating the extensive retail and commercial growth brought to our community, overseeing the current Westfield Mall expansion, and successfully navigating challenging economic downturns with creative solutions. As the board that hired Mike, you know very well his skills and talents, but I'd like to comment briefly on how Mike has helped me be better in my role as state representative. Mike has always been available for questions from the House floor regarding local governmental issues, meetings I've asked him to attend to brainstorm solutions that municipalities are facing, and backup and clarification for legislation I initiate, as well as being an active participant in my semi-annual mayor and village manager breakfast. So to me, Mike, you've served as a model partner of local and state government cooperation. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your professionalism, for your kindness, for your wit, your dedication and hard work. And I consider you a friend. And I wish you and Madeline the best of success in your next endeavor. And you leave the village in the very capable hands of another friend, John Kalmar. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Carol. Okay.
He's on.
And then, of course, you got to do a selfie.
You'll be good. You'll be in good company.
Settings. You got to go into the settings.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay, thank you, Carol. All right. Public Works Director / Village Engineer Dave Brown, snow report.
Wanted to provide the board with an update on recent snow events. Was going through some of the numbers This time a year ago, we only had 1 inch of snow. If you look out the window, obviously we've had more snow than that. All of last year, we had 32.5 inches of snow. We've already exceeded that at this point. So obviously, we've used a lot of, there's been a lot of manpower, a lot of hard efforts in terms of keeping the streets plowed. But it's not just the plowing, it's also, we've had a lot of early season rainy, freeze and rain. So that's a lot of salt operations. So we have also used as much salt this year as we have for all of last year. But looking at the math, it does make sense. So I wanted to update the board of where we're at. We have ordered 500 additional tons of salt to make sure that we have all the salt that we are allowed to by contract. And so our bins are full. We'll have enough salt, over 1,200 tons of salt to carry us through the rest of the year. And I'm also looking for backup plan in case this weather continues, so we will have salt when it becomes March. So I've reached out and I'm pursuing some other avenues. So I also wanted to, just, talk to the board and residents in terms of, just, bear with us. We understand it's very, very difficult. As we're going by and plowing, typically this time of year, the snow would fall off of our plows, it would go over the curb, and it would sit nicely in the parkways. Now we've got snow banks that are higher than what our plows are, so it's very difficult for the plow to make it over the snow banks, so it tends to fall into people's driveways. It means that all of us have to shovel a little bit more, and it gets heavy, gets frustrated, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast and what's been delivered to us. So, we appreciate the efforts that the residents are also putting through. So we did have a lot of snow plowing activities during the holidays, both Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And I just think our staff has done a very good job, and I applaud them that they're making the sacrifices to, make sure that the roads are open, that services can be provided, the ambulances are able to make it down the road, and people are able to go visit friends and families over the important holidays. So that's really what I wanted to share with the board.
Trustee Marquardt.
I would like to commend David Brown and Public Works for the work. It's hard when people take a look and say, hey, I've got snow and you haven't plowed my driveway or my road. Thing is that I do this work too, and the thing is, it's tough. We had 3 days of snow. From 3 days of snow, then we end up getting the wind. Mm-hmm. Then we got the cold. Again, a lot of snow fell in a short period of time frame over the 3 days, and it was a lot of work. The sleep efforts of the men and women that plowed, definitely their hats off to it. I commend you extremely, and our village should be proud of what Dave and our Public Works people have done.
The only thing I want to add to Trustee Marquardt's comment is gloom of night. Gloom of night. Okay. With that said, okay, if they jacked the price on the salt yet per ton?
Right now, we're still holding at $61 a ton, but I suspect, as it's a commodity, that supply and demand.
Pretty soon the harbors will freeze and the boats can't get in, and the barges can't come. Oh yeah. This will get better as the winter goes on, I'm sure.
And that's why we're trying to get a hold of the curve with additional salt.
If you need to buy more, poll us, Mike or John. Okay. Is that about it, Snow Captain?
Yes, sir. I'll pass on your compliments to the staff. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? And people do appreciate us pushing the snow off the sidewalks too. I'm sure, all the pet owners and walkers and joggers and kids at the bus stops and whatever. As much as we can do. We don't do every sidewalk in town, but we do the major ones, and it really is appreciated, I know that. Okay, next is the omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through H?
So made.
Second?
Motion is second. Under comments, questions, trustee Schultz.
Just want to remind everybody that items, D through H is our annual abatement of property tax, so that we are not collecting a property tax this year, but because we have outstanding bonds, we have to go through this exercise just in case there's a requirement for us to generate additional revenues, which there isn't. Thank you, Larry. And so the majority of tonight's omnibus agenda is just abating property tax. And again, just wanted to remind folks that the Village of Vernon Hills does not collect a property tax.
Yeah, and these bonds, you know, just from a tertiary check here, what are they, about 18 million total?
Yes, that's correct. It's, let me see, we're right, that it is about 18 million.
So, you know, in an addendum to what trustee Schultz said, I mean, this is for all kinds of projects all over town, but, you know, the bottom line is we never went the referendum, you know, to bond anything out, and we pay it off with the revenue we have, plus obviously the sales tax that we, you know, have used judiciously for a long, long time. So anyway, okay. So there's a motion to approve items A through H. Is there a second?
Yep. Second.
No further comments or questions. Roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz,
Marshall.
This is close.
Markwart,
Oh,
This is close.
was it Markwart?
Yes, but it's,
Was it? Did you say Marshall?
I said Markwart, I thought.
Okay.
Sorry.
don't worry, I
It might.
understood.
Maybe
Hey,
it's me.
I've
I
been
think
called
you know.
a lot
I
of
hope it's
things.
not the right ear going with the right eye. You know. Okay.
Trustee Markwart,
Okay.
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Schwartz, Williams, Hebda.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye.
I'd vote aye for the record. Okay, next is, let's see here. Approval of Kemper voucher list of bills dated January 7th, 2014, in the amount of $6,115.46. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Comments or questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Schultz,
Aye.
Schwartz, Williams, Hebda.
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, B, approve the December 17th, 2013 Village Board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, questions, corrections, or deletions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Schwartz, Williams, Hebda.
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Motion carries. C, approval and passage of Resolution 2014-003, a resolution authorizing extension of a professional service agreement between Morel and Associates, PC, and the Village of Vernon Hills. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Motion is second.
Second.
Comments or questions? Trustee Cook.
Is the motion, what level is the motion at? 4,000 or?
4,000.
4,000.
I'd like to see it be the three. Is there a reason we need to go up 33% on this?
Well, a little bit of history. We discussed with Steve Morel, who is our lobbyist in Springfield, and they were up until I think it was 2009 at $5,000 a month, and that's probably a little bit more typical of their fee. And at the time, there was two items. Obviously, the economy was number one. Number two, right behind it, was really the sales tax issue softened up considerably in the 2009. in 2014 now, with the, you know, renewed vigor with the Marketplace Fairness Act in Washington, there's going to be a need to do something with the state legislation. Inevitably, that's going to change it. So there's a real concern that in Springfield, you know, there's going to be much more time spent, you know, following that issue. That's the thinking for this coming legislative session. So that's
Have you got a
basically
ballpark
reason.
figure of how many hours a week we get out of them? I mean, is that something we can ask, or is that
Well,
something to be
I
figured?
think it really is variable. I mean, when I'm down, the times that I've been down there and we've spent some time with them, or on several of the issues, again, the sales tax was, you know, a pretty big issue. Some of the pension, we dealt with Steve and Kurt Fiedler, his associate, on the pension issues, as well as the, and how they might affect, you know, police and IMRF, but also in that whole thing with the consortium we were with several years ago that we bought into. Steve did some consulting on that piece of it too, as well as, you know, other issues. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, a couple of them we had in the past 2 years. Of course, when LGDF was a really big deal, everybody was following that, but Steve followed that for us also. And, you know, we get firsthand information, and we've talked to, Kurt is available, you know, all the time during the session. If you call him, he'll call you within half an hour, if not, if he doesn't answer. So they're very accessible, and they give, and I know the mayor's had contacts with him also on different
Well,
legislative
you know,
issues.
as everybody remembers, we got a little panicky when the streamlined sales tax issue was coming to fruition, tied into, you know, the federal, you know, mandate, and then there was a moratorium at the federal level on the internet taxes, except, you know, this was origination versus what?
Well, it's
destination, you know?
origin sourcing,
Yeah.
order received versus destination
Right,
sourcing.
and-
And it means a huge,
And now,
you all know, it means
what's
it's a
the
huge
case
deal
that
for
was
us.
decided? Was it in New York
well,
or
it's
New Jersey?
well, there's a couple of Amazon cases that were
Yeah. But the court,
determined in New York State, and then there's the Hartney, I think it's Hartney Oil in Illinois,
Yeah.
that means the Illinois Department of Revenue has to promulgate new rules. Thanks for reminding.
Right.
That's another issue. Forgetting about the federal legislation, there's also the issue that IDOR has to promulgate new rules. And at that rulemaking
IDOR is
thing,
what?
Illinois Department of Revenue.
right,
You know, we have to be players in all that, because,
Right.
you know, they could again, the easiest way to solve some of these problems from a state standpoint would be do destination sourcing, which would be very detrimental to us
Yeah.
for places like CDW. You know, the simple example we always give is, if one would live in Buffalo Grove, buy a refrigerator
Right.
at Sears, have it trucked to Buffalo Grove would get that revenue as
but that would even
destination
affect the
source.
delivery of, you know, concrete. We could actually get a
Absolutely.
sale, I mean, not that that's
Yeah.
a huge amount, but the reality is, but what I was concerned about is a couple of those cases statewide, they actually pertain to like internet sales and who's collecting the taxes.
Right.
And how that impacts,
Okay.
you know, at the local level. And needless to say, we got a lot of people, you know, selling stuff
Well,
on
and you've
on the
seen
internet now.
Amazon
And it's
now-
not just CDW.
Right.
You know.
Amazon now is supportive of that national legislation. So it does, a few of the big internet companies have supported it. And of course, a lot of big box retailers support it,
Yeah.
because they're losing
Well-
business to Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Hebda.
There's 3 agenda items that I have personally that I hope the board will support me on, that possibly this lobbyists could do, and one of those is the affordable beds for these supportive living centers. I think that's important. I think we're going to hear more about concealed carry. I have a concern about some of those issues and want to know where we stand with that with the state and some of the fumblings of what they've come up with. I want to make sure we're clear on that. And then thirdly, also, there's the gaming issue. There's some of that stuff coming out more and more. So I hope that the board will be supportive of whatever goes on down there. The big one being, though, these affordable beds with this memory care coming in to try and work through some of those issues if we can, or at least start the process of talking.
And I think it goes without saying that the original reason why we hired, Morel and Associates is gone by the boards. We're not getting the $505,000 in payment for, what was that, our out of pocket for the
That
extension
was
of Fairway
for the
Drive.
Fairway Drive.
Fairway
It's part
Drive,
of,
turn it, and I didn't ask Carol, I was kind tonight. So, with that said, no, I think it's worth, we've been paying him what was it, $3,000 or $3,500?
For at least 2 years, if not
I think
3
this guy,
years, yeah.
they're down there, and God only knows what could happen.
Well, especially getting the sales tax.
In a
it's
day or
such a
two or
huge-
an hour or two.
It's such a
sometimes.
huge revenue item for us. Any
Yeah.
little nuance of a change, that doesn't mean it won't happen, but you got to be there to fight for your interests. And some municipalities obviously would benefit from a rule change.
The House rep will not be mentioned here, but I can remember us having a meeting with that person at the time who, basically told us, don't worry about the streamlined sales tax. Hey, don't worry about a thing. Then we got a phone call probably from, who was it? Wolfberg, probably.
Yeah.
He goes, man, this is a problem. It's going through the third reading or something, and that's when we got involved with Morel. But, so, in any event, do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, is there any further comments or questions? If not,
No.
roll call, please.
Trustees Williams, Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Schwartz.
And for the record, I'd vote aye. Okay, motion carries. What's next? Approval and pass of resolution 2014-004, resolution authorizing signing of non-disclosure agreement with Kemper Sports Management. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second.
Motion and second, and this is not to exceed what?
No, this is just the
is
non-disclosure.
Oh, we haven't gotten to that other part, okay.
Yeah, this is an agreement that any information the village gets and provides to Kemper in order to give us an analysis, Kemper will not use that other than for the purposes of providing information to us.
All right. Roll call then.
Trustees Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye.
Markwart,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Schwartz, Williams.
For the record, I'd vote aye. Motion carries. Okay, that's about it, huh? New business and communication, trustee Cook.
Two things. One, speaking of the conceal and carry thing, the gun signs have to be up in buildings. And I was wondering if the golf course is our decision or Kemper's, and if it is our decision, that's what I thought it was, then we should probably look into getting the sign up down there because there isn't one there. I know the schools had one up for a while in the front window.
What is
There-
the size of it, too?
Right on the front door.
What is the
Yeah, we
size?
put,
About
I
that
just
big?
put that one up today. I mean, it's
that
4
about
by,
standard?
it's 4 by 6.
Yeah.
There's a standard
the
size
standard
by
size.
statute. And Kim Christensen's working on that.
Right, 'cause he's-
Yeah, so we're going to get those, and the chief, we've talked about it, they're going to offer them to businesses to
Yeah.
assist.
But
We'll
the
just
question came
But we're
up,
going to post them on our building.
At when we were watching a football game at the golf course, and so I thought I would mention it here. Second thing was,
We should put this sign up on a couple of doors there.
but the second thing was, when we sit up here, sometimes when problems happen, we are quick to criticize some of our are people like Comcast and North Shore and ComEd and the people that, you know, provide services and that. And I just wanted to pass on a thank you to ComEd. They were very good the other night in that extreme cold. One of the buildings in my association had a problem with the electricity. One of the phases went out. And on a night like that, you figure they're probably pretty well swamped. But they were there in a real quick hurry and took care of the problem. Not actually fixed it, but took care of the problem until they could, you know, get somebody else to come out and fix it permanently. And the two guys who came out to handle it were there very quickly, very efficient, explained everything to a couple of our residents and that. And so I just wanted to make sure that they also hear the good side of what their people do, because that was one of those kind of nights. Monday night was one of those kind of nights when those guys earn their keep out there on a night like that fixing stuff. So my big thanks to ComEd for what they did Monday night.
Okay. Okay, any other new business or communication? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the village board meeting and go into committee of the whole?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Aye?
Markwart.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Schwartz. Williams. Hebda.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Approval of committee of the whole meeting minutes of December 17th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustees Hebda.
Aye.
Cook.
Aye?
Markwart.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Schwartz. Williams.
Motion carries. Okay, which one, is there one we're not talking about tonight?
Well, the Deerpath Drive, the chief couldn't be here tonight because we
Okay.
changed the night and he had a conflict. And I told him, fine. So we're talking about
What-
pushing
and
that over to
did
the
we
21st.
notify any people on Deerpath?
No.
Maybe we should.
Well, this is a twofold issue.
Well, yeah.
You know, number one is specific problems to Deerpath because it is such a main collector
Right.
street, and people are looking for additional parking, and we've got some alternative solutions.
Right.
So that's one aspect of it. But then the second aspect of it really is village-wide, with some of the parking going on the aprons and things of that nature, which from this chair's perspective is unacceptable, and I'd like to see us, change our ordinances to reflect that as a violation and to eliminate that and move forward. So with that being said, the one is kind of an engineering issue. The other is a enforcement and ordinance issue. And that second one, definitely we need the chief here. And if we're going to open one can of worms, we probably should open both at the same time and have the chief here. So
Would this also involve a discussion of, actually widening somebody's driveway?
yes, that's one of the alternatives that staff
Yeah.
is promoting, or not promoting, I shouldn't,
Suggesting.
I'm promoting that.
Right.
But staff has looked at it and has come up with some thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I have a problem with waiting till chief.
All right, well then we'll,
And
why
I
don't we
should
push
say-
this off to
Yeah.
February?
And I should say, Mayor, I said no, we didn't notify anybody, but the reason is because there was initial discussion of it.
Right.
And you'd have to promulgate rules and everything, and so there's plenty of time to
Right.
discuss this over several meetings.
Okay. All right, so that one is gonna be brought back to the, why don't we do it the first meeting of February? Is that okay?
Sure.
Is everybody okay with that
Yeah.
one?
Absolutely.
Seavey drainage ditch consideration of termination of the district. That's fine with me, because what am I? I'm the captain of the Seavey drainage ditch.
You're
or
king of the
something?
district.
You know. Yeah.
Lordship.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Lord of the district.
I need a flatboat.
Just as
Oh,
kind of a
Christ.
brief
A very
picture.
small
Yeah.
flatboat.
Yeah.
As a brief
Or
picture,
hip waders, more accurately, yeah.
we have the Seavey Drainage District as a taxing body, a governmental entity.
Except we don't tax anybody.
Although, for all practical purposes, from what I can tell, it doesn't practically exist. If there is a small area of the district in Libertyville, but basically it's an outfall into Vernon Hills. Any work that's happened in Vernon Hills has been done by the village.
Right.
No one's ever used that as a taxing district.
And we can access that no matter what.
Right. So, yes, so
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I need clarification on
As
that.
far as if we have to fix something in a hurry
we can
because
go,
of flooding and such.
what's happening is,
Yeah.
I think we did a drainage district project a couple years back,
Yeah.
that theoretically, the Seavey Drainage District could have levied a tax to have done. Now, the district is not very wide. It does not go west of Butterfield Road, and when you get down to the south end of Greg's Landing, it doesn't even go to Butterfield Road. It does not go all the way to Milwaukee Avenue. Deerpath Road was really, shall we say, almost the center line at the south end, and it doesn't even go down to 45 and Deerpath.
Well, it being a district though, does that give us access to any grant money or any, the ability to tax if we did have a major undertaking to do?
Yes, and that.
But who would we tax? Our own people?
That's the question. We would be taxing.
Or the
Is there a way to-
township?
Maybe let me pass this map down. The shaded area in this map is the district. So if we wanted a ditch, CB ditch improvement, we could create this and repopulate the commissioners of the district, and they could levy a tax, and the people in the shaded area would pay. Or we could continue the way we're doing, and all the village residents pay. And so, and this was created well before Greg's Landing, so it appears.
When was this created? Just, okay,
let's-
so it's prior to the village by 40, 50 years.
1909.
Yeah.
It's been, so back
Now,
in,
the dam at Route, or Town Line Road, is that part of the CV ditch, or? Okay. Yeah, so I guess the question is, that would probably be the single largest expenditure we would ever encounter, right, is if that dam failed?
Yes, and that, as you know, it was recently improved, so it's been brought up to recent standards. We think it's going to serve us for many more years without issues.
And remind me, we got grant money from the state for most of that repair work or revitalization of it? Pardon?
That was us, not the district that got the grant.
Right, but the state, it was the state's money. We went forward to get the money on behalf of the CV ditch.
Yeah.
But the state picked up the lion's share of that, right?
Yes, and the majority of our restoration projects, we have went out and we're able to get funds as the village separate of the district.
So maybe that's a good.
The
Trustee Cook.
Well, you just made my case. We went out and did the work.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
By doing this, maybe we can set an example for the rest of the state. This was only created in 1909. I believe the township system was created by the Northwest Ordinance, and that was, I think, 1785.
Was that Lewis and Clark?
Oh, no, before them.
prior.
Predated them. And Illinois has, what is it, 1 in every 8 or 10 taxing bodies, independent taxing bodies in the country
Yes.
are in Illinois.
In the world.
And if we can do something to start to streamline that, it's something that Illinois needs to go back and look at, because some of the systems, if you ever read your tax bill, the Road and Bridge Fund, the Road and Bridge Pension Fund, the Mosquito Abatement District, it's ridiculous. It's all services that can be picked up by other people. And this is one of those examples, so it's a no-brainer. Let's get rid of it.
So there's two procedures by which we can do that. One, more onerous in my opinion, is to get 3/4 of the adult landowners within the district to sign a petition. That seems a little intense, given that this district hasn't done anything in years. The other is to appoint commissioners, have commissioners appointed, and I think the county board president does that. We'll need 3 commissioners, and then we would go through the procedure of the commissioners would petition for dissolution. We'd go to court. The court would look at the petition and dissolve it so long as we take care of any bills and we sell any property owned by the district.
How many districts are around the county? Got to be a bunch of them, right?
There are a lot, for example, drainage districts themselves. There's a North Shore Drainage District. There's a bunch of them. And some of them are active. I get a tax bill from my drainage district maybe every 5 years when they do a levy. But this one, as far as I know, has been inactive, well, probably forever.
Other people can pick up the services, so yeah, let's move forward with this.
What's going to be the legal cost?
I think it can be done without a lot of expense. We just need to get a letter up to Aaron Lawler and ask him to appoint some commissioners. And we'll need to get some commissioners who understand this is not a permanent job for them. This is going to be very temporary. We'll send out the notice, we'll hold a meeting, we'll vote to dissolve the district, and then we file in court. I'm throwing a dart out there, maybe 5,000 by the time we get all those pieces done.
And then, okay, to dissolve it, does it, from a monetary standpoint, is it good or bad for us?
I think the benefit, if you look at it this way, is it's a taxing body that if it was up and running and it did its organizational chart, its budget every year, audited financial reports, if we did that every year, then that is an entity that could levy a tax to improve the Seavey ditch without the village taking the money out of the general fund. But you would be imposing a very narrow number of residents of the village to fund that.
The way it's set up.
The way it's set up now, because
even though it's good for everybody.
Right. Dave could probably say whether a greater number of people benefit than the residents in the district, but the non-engineer, in my opinion, says there's benefits that go beyond those district borders. And so
could you, before we move, could you get us a little better number on what it would cost us?
Yes. Yes.
Because maybe we can just kill it by ignoring it too.
Well, we can't kill it. We've been killing it by ignoring it, but
We've done a good job of ignoring it.
But it's like a cockroach. It just doesn't die. What can I tell you? Every year we get a letter from the county saying we have the responsibility to do these documents. And so it goes to the mayor, it goes to me as the attorney for the district. So, you know.
So we are spending some money on it now, so.
Well, we're doing nothing. We get a letter, but you know, we've talked when I'm here on Thursday.
But are you billing anything?
No, no.
Okay.
Well, so in essence, the district is kind of all Deerpath in a narrow, like where I live and Marquardt lives and.
Yes.
May I see the map?
Well, the map is kind of, probably the map on.
What page was it?
On the magic box is probably better. Because it's
page
colored
91.
and all that.
Page 91.
Page 91.
So I will get a better idea of the steps it'll take and how much dollar amount that I think it would cost to do that. I mean, much of it I will do as part of the Thursday retainer hours, so I don't expect it to be a lot extra other than the court hearing.
If it's minimal, I'd just as soon get rid of it.
I tend to agree. hate spending money
Yeah.
on something that's not hurting us, but I understand and I agree with where Trustee
Well,
Cook is
you know,
coming from.
can I, here's something that somebody can research. I mean, is that then one of our village assets?
Well, as far as I know, there's no property owned by the district. And, I mean, that's one of
I
the
mean, is
things
there
we'll
any,
have to talk
and,
through.
okay, I'll just go I'll go insurance litigation here. Are we taking on any added liability associated with this? You know, the actual drainage ditch itself.
I think there would be a great legal dispute as to whether or not the non-existent drainage district is responsible or the village is responsible. As I look at it, the village has been the mover behind any improvements to the drainage
Yeah,
ditch.
ergo by default, we,
So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
What page, Mike?
We've-
91?
If nothing else, I guess I'd also like to see at least one of the commissioners from Libertyville and also have the Libertyville Village Board or Town Board or whatever they are, address this and weigh in a same positive fashion to eliminate it, just because the district does include, as you stated, a small but substantial portion of their town.
Well, in Indian Creek, I mean, whose jurisdiction is that? I mean, part of it runs, a lot of it runs right through town too. Seavey becomes the Indian Creek once it goes under 45.
Well, when the district, the Seavey district ends, then it's going to be whatever municipality that ditch is in. So,
Indian Creek is within Long Grove. It goes through our village, goes through Buffalo Grove. The drainage district for the Seavey ditch was established, as you know, in 1909. Since then, now we're looking at watersheds at a county level, so there's additional jurisdiction and protection because now we manage things at a county-wide level. They've established rules and regulations to do some of the things that drainage districts used to do.
So the watershed name for our creek is part of what? What's the name of the watershed?
It's part of it. Well, we have two of them. There's the
Well, I'm
Plains.
just saying the Seavey to the Indian Creek. What?
There's the Upper Des Plaines watershed, and the subset of that is the Des Plaines River and the Indian Creek watershed.
Okay, so
The Seavey ditch being a small portion of the Indian Creek watershed.
okay. Yeah, where's the source of the whole watershed? It's past north of Mundelein?
Downtown Mundelein, 45, and McDonald's.
Well, doesn't even St. Mary of the Lake feed into that? Coming across,
Loch Lomond is
176
dammed on
there?
the west, or east end, so.
I know the Seavey ditch is right around McDonald's on 45 in Mundelein. Then they have some storm sewer pipes, so you lose the creek or the river from there. Whether it connects up to Loch Lomond and that, I don't know. I know it dips down there, so it's hard for me to.
So you're saying
know
the
that.
McDonald's at 45 and what in Mundelein?
Seymour, right there.
Seymour,
45
yeah,
and-
by their police station.
yeah,
Yeah,
45
okay,
and-
Yeah.
okay. Well, there's another McDonald's at 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the one near
45,
Santa
okay.
Maria de Popolo.
There is the small part of Mundelein that is within this drainage district also. It's just the right-of-way on Butterfield Road, very
Okay.
small area, but for what it's worth.
All right, so tonight we're going to look into it and get a better cost estimate.
we'll pursue the preliminaries to see what's involved and what the cost will be. We'll come back before we take any steps.
Okay.
We'll talk
Okay.
with Libertyville to get their buy-in.
All right, is that about it on the Seavey?
Now, once we get rid of the commission, can we rename it then? I know that was a Pam Newton issue. She wanted to name it at least Creek as opposed to Ditch. just kind of a connotation.
Well, maybe the commission could do that as their, a two-agenda,
We want
a two-item agenda.
Rename-
Rename it and then dissolve.
Rename the Seavey, get the schools involved, this will be big time.
Don't we want to
go.
ditch it now?
The village,
Are we going to rename Seavey or just from ditch to creek?
I would just suggest ditch to creek or something a little more benign than ditch.
staff did investigate that in behalf of the village board before, and it was a monumental effort. We talked about the legal fees for us to accomplish the absolving the drainage district. Renaming it is many steps past that. For what it's worth, we would love to change it.
If you got a copy of that, I'd like to just see it, just for grins.
We'll do.
Is it gonna cost anybody money in business cards or stationery?
Only the new commissioner.
Oh, God, okay. All right, so is there a motion to adjourn the the committee of the whole?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second, roll call, please.
Trustee Schultz,
Aye.
Schwartz, Williams, Hebda,
Aye.
Cook,
Aye?
Markworth.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you and good night. Okay.